Again, like Tammy said, with the certificate of compliance, it is required. It's in the rule. You guys went through the process this last year. We were changing a lot of how we were reporting the certificate of compliance in the past. You have just signed a document just saying, hey, we understand this. So going electronically was a little more difficult. And so there were some things that we went through, and it was eye-opening for all of us, I'm sure, for you guys as well as us, as to where we are all at and what we understand. And so in doing that, we are still going through some numbers. We had a 97% submission rate. I thought you...
No,
yeah, okay. So yeah, 96% submission rate. So, and then there were 27 of those-ish. We're still double-checking some of these numbers, too, just to verify that it's good. But there was information that was incomplete. So incomplete to us means that a question was not answered, or there was an attachment or a number that was not provided. Some of that was because the system that we'd built electronically either didn't allow, or there was not, for some reason, you guys could not actually attach some of the information. So we understand that there were some concerns that came up. So our goal is to work through that, and there's a lot of changes that we're making. But based off the numbers that we did receive back, there were 65.6 million that was reported in fees charged. And so a lot of people are still trying to learn what is included in that fee amount. So fees charged should include amounts as well. And this is any amount that is charged to a student. So this also includes not even, so you have, the other word is collected. So there's the fees charged, and then there's the fees collected. The number that we're asking for is the fees charged. What are you actually asking of a parent to provide and pay for their student to be there? So on this next year with the next certificate of compliance, we are pretty sure that this number is going to go up because of that understanding that is changing from what is encompassed in a fee as well as what we are looking for. The amount that was waived, 5.3 million. These numbers are consistent with the audits that occurred in 2018 from the state board as well as the Office of the Legislature. However, in their review, in the audit, and the audit is available online, they found that these numbers are actually quite low. So that is what we're trying to get at is, hey, certificate of compliance, these are reports that came back. We understand that some of the information is missing. There's still some things that we don't understand. And so this next year, this 2020-21 year, we expect these numbers will be different. These will allow us to track, okay, what happened for the 2019-20 year, where we understand where things are coming from, things are changing, and now what is happening as we are moving. So these amounts, it's only 8%. The fee waivers are only 8% of these fees. We know for the state of Utah that that is low for the number of students that should be applying for fee waivers. And we had a comment at our last meeting of, hey, not everybody who can apply for fee waivers wants to. We understand that. But the problem that we're having is we have a lot of people that do not understand that they can even apply for fee waivers. That's why there's a requirement with the registration materials to provide that information to a parent up front. So there is that transparency of, hey, this is what is going to cost you, but if you are unable to afford that, you can have these fees waived. And this next year, we will provide at our next spring meeting, we will provide updated numbers from the next certificate of compliance.
Based upon what you said, where you said 8% and that number is low, how do you say that number is low?
Basically, what we, from the audits that we were hearing, as well as what DWS is seeing. So those families that have been coming in have the information that's coming, that's where we're saying 8%. There should be more that are on fee waivers. You had a comment?
Yeah, overall, on the audit that was performed by our state board internal audit staff, that should have been up to 12 to 15% of overall students are on free lunches. That's just free lunch, number of students on free lunch. And so there's some data analysis in there that's quite interesting because the number of students that are eligible is going up, but the fee waiver amounts and the fee waiver count of students is going down. And so we assume that this next year, now that we kind of have, number one, we're going to collect what a fee is, as Charity said. The people that design are knowing what fees are, and I'm off camera and people webinar are going to go crazy, but anyway, what the fees are was misunderstood, but also we're seeing this count. So it's comparing it to the free lunch students.
Recognize the free lunch, to get a fee waiver is more difficult to get a free lunch. Free lunch requires no documentation, but to get a fee waiver does. So you would expect that your numbers would be lower for free.
But not to the extent that they are.
Maybe not to that extent, but
And so, but we understand that there's still a significant difference. And so that's what we hope to track over the next couple of years of where are we at. But based off of the audit that occurred, this is what we were showing. So from that, as the State Board of Education, we understand that there were some things that we can improve on. And so this is what we are working on with the Certificate of Compliance, because that is something that you guys are going in and saying, hey, these are the things that we understand, and we're looking at improving on, and yes, these are the things that our school's doing. And so with the state board, one of the things we're going to change is the submission time frame. And so this last year we had 3 months where you could go in to submit the certificate of compliance. You will now have from October 1st to the end of October. A couple of reasons for that is there were a lot of principal changes that occurred. And so we have a lot of things that first month of August is still kind of in chaos, everybody's settling down. We want to make sure that occurs. We are going to be sending out a verification email to the superintendents and the charter directors saying, hey, this is who we have showing for your schools and your districts. Please verify with us that we have the correct people. And so all of that will occur prior to the submission beginning so that we have the correct people getting their link to the certificate of compliance. We will also be having our fall training, and that will be on the certificate of compliance. So if you have questions in regards to what is being asked, and the papers that you have, the emails that we sent out, had the updated forms because there are new questions that will be asked and questions that we have updated based off of feedback. For the certificate of compliance. And so we want to make sure that you guys understand specifically what it is that we are looking for with the certificate of compliance and what is being asked. And so that's where we handed out that document. And for those on the WebEx, the file that was sent through the email, you have that available to you to go through. And we will also be changing a couple of things with the certificate of compliance submission. Qualtrics will also inactivate the link after a month, and so that's why we shortened it to that 1 month time frame.
So remind me, this goes to principals.
So we're actually going to create 2 different surveys. This is some hiccups we had with the survey setup. You have the board chairs and the principals. They're required to submit basically compliance to the laws. And their LAA follows all of the criteria is being asked in the rule. And so that's mainly what they cover. And so we will have a survey sent out to the board chairs and the principals, and they're all supposed to submit that. We also have the superintendents and the charter directors that will receive the link for the certificate of compliance. Theirs will be submitting to the same thing. Yes, we've read the injunction, the code, the rule. We understand our LEA follows these things. But then they are also required to attach the additional documentation and statistical data. So we're looking for, send us your fee waiver policy. Send us what your fee schedule is that was approved. We are also going to be asking for the dates of those meetings you had, as well as your maximum amounts. So there's information that the charter directors and the superintendents need to provide to us for a verification of, hey, these are when we had, these are the things that we did to follow the rules and requirements. And then the statistical data. How many students were on fee waivers? How many fees were charged? I know some of you had questions about it was being broken down into the curricular, co-curricular, asking for that. And so that will be required every year. You have your fees charged. Now, how much was actually collected for those categories? What was collected for curricular? What was collected for co-curricular? And what was collected for extracurricular? So those are the things required from that on the statistical data.
Will you require the amount that was waived too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You also have the fees waived, and I believe it should be in that packet as well. So that last page of the superintendent's and director's packet, that has all the information that we are going to be asking you. And this is a draft. There may be a couple additional changes as we get feedback and discuss things with the board as well. And so, but we will notify you in the fall training as to what those final questions are. So come September, we have a school fees contract for every LEA. So please make sure those are updated so that we can notify the school fees contact saying, hey, this is when our certificate of compliance training is, and all of the questions on the certificate will be set by that date. And so we can tell you and discuss and go through each one of those questions and questions that you guys have in regards to the certificate of compliance. For the actual submission process with Qualtrics, There, in the forms that were handed out, we went through and it's updated which questions are new based off of the things that are now with the rule that apply to you. And then there are some questions for technical changes that we went through and we updated the actual questions. And so each one of those, excuse me, each one of those has been notified in the document. Some complaints that we had about the online submission process is you have the ability, they couldn't go back further in the survey to go double check, and so we have allowed that to where you can go back and review. And then there will be a final submit button as well. So when you get to the end of it, you'll sign it and then it'll have submit. So we had some issues with that. When you submit that, there will be an automatic email that will be sent to you with Qualtrics that will have a copy of your responses so that you will be able to document what you submitted to us as well. And so if there are any issues, you can be like, no, this is what I received, this is the information that I turned in, so that you guys have that verification for yourselves as well. And then we've also had a couple requests. When we went through the process, we kept sending out updates to the superintendents and charter directors. The school fees contacts were also stated that they would have preferred, as well as the charter authorizers. And so there were a couple of changes that we made there. So all 4 of those individuals with each LEA will be contacted. So throughout the month, it will be, if we don't receive a submission by the beginning of that month, the superintendent or charter director, as well as the school fee contact and the charter authorizer, will receive a list of those individuals who have not submitted that certificate of compliance, so that we can make sure that all LEAs and have submitted that by October 31st. So the goal is 100% complete submission with the state board. And we understand that there are things to do on our end, and that there are things that you guys will need to do as well. And so it's just coming to that middle ground, and that's what we're aiming here for. Questions?
Okay, so you said that there was like 8% that were fee waivers, but that number should be higher. But on the very back page, like, why isn't there something on there where you have the total number of students, total number of students given fee waivers? Why not have something of a total number of students or families denying to apply for, so that you can see where the discrepancy lies? Because otherwise it looks like you are not giving the information to those parents, right?
Is that something that that you guys usually track?
Well, we have a place to mark that on our end, but that just makes it look like if there's a discrepancy, then why wouldn't we want to show that the parents are refusing or not wanting to apply for a fee waiver?
Oh, and that's great. And that's where we want your guys' feedback on these, and we will look into that and consider if that, discuss it with the board as well. Is that something that is valuable information that we can use and would benefit you as well? And so, yeah, we can definitely take a look into that and see if that's something that needs to be added to the certificate.